Hello and welcome to Fremont Station on the northwest side of Fremont, California. Today we are going to be riding on Amtrak's Capitol Corridor from here to Oakland's Jack London Station. Our journey today will cover a total of 25 miles across the east coast of San Francisco Bay between Fremont and Oakland, with stops at Hayward and the Oakland Coliseum along the way. Fremont Station, also known as Centerville, was first opened in 1910 by the Southern Pacific Railroad, serving both passenger and freight trains, including a couple daily milk trains. Passenger service halted here in the mid-1920s, but the Railway Agency Express continued to use the station for their freight services well into the 1950s. Amtrak began service to the depot in 1993, restoring the station building between 1998 and 1999. During the same time frame, the Altamont Corridor Express also began service on the corridor, sharing station stops with Amtrak from San Jose to Fremont before splitting off through the Niles Canyon towards Pleasanton. The station is full of historical markers, and the first one passengers see when walking up to the building is an old baggage cart from the Railway Agency Express. Heading around the back to the small parking lot gives a better shot of the full station building. Services here include a small waiting area for Amtrak and Ace passengers, as well as the East Bay Cafe Depot for those who want to grab a quick bite to eat. I was hoping to get into the waiting area, however, a sign on the door said that the waiting area was closed, which was rather unfortunate, or so I thought. Apparently one of the doors was unlocked, a fact made clear to me by a fellow passenger, and thus I headed inside. The waiting area is small but actually fairly nice. There's a single double-sided bench running down the center of the room, with an Amtrak and Ace ticket machine. The walls are adorned with historical articles and information about the formation and design of the station. It's always fun to see how stations came to be, and the history here is certainly well logged. The platforms at Fremont are fairly standard, aside from this smashed Amtrak information sign. Clearly someone else's train was cancelled, much like my Coast Starlight journey that was supposed to happen the following day. The exterior of the station building still has some secrets to share, and taking a quick look around, it's easy to spot them. The main feature of note standing tall above the tracks is this old semaphore signal back from the days of the Southern Pacific. More relics of the Great Railway past can be seen in and around the exterior of the building itself, the first of which is this baggage room, which has long since been converted into a maintenance hallway for the cafe and waiting room. Before the waiting area was a waiting area, it was an office for Western Union's telegraph and cable services. Both of these services have long since been outpaced by modern technology, but the sign here still remains as a reminder of what once was. Another modern company with a historic tie here is Wells Fargo, or Wells Fargo & Co. Express as the sign indicates, who ran multiple transcontinental express railways in the late 1800s and early 1900s. The sun has just started to fall behind the station building when the signal gates at Fremont Boulevard fall, indicating the arrival of our train. Now, if you've watched the previous video, you'll know that my previous train, Ace number 4, heading northbound, dropped us off on the western platform closest to the station building, so a reasonable person would expect that the next northbound train to arrive would arrive on the same platform, right? Well, as the train got closer, I realized just how wrong my assumption was. Our train was instead pulling into the east platform on the other side of the station, and not wanting to miss our train, I booked it to the crossing and onto the east platform. It was certainly a closer call than I could have ever imagined, but I hopped aboard and everything was a-okay. As we head out of Fremont, why don't we take a quick look at some stats about our train? Our train this evening is Amtrak Capital Corridor number 542 and is powered by EMD F59PHI locomotive number 2009. Each F59PHI is powered by EMD's 12-710 G3 V12 engine, producing 3,000 horsepower. F59PHIs are rated for a top speed of 110 miles per hour, but Amtrak's Capital Corridor trains are operated at a maximum speed of 80 miles per hour. Amtrak has begun phasing out the majority of its F59PHIs in favor of Siemens SC44 Chargers. However, as the route is technically owned by Caltrans, it is likely that these locomotives will continue to see revenue service for many years to come. Our consist today includes the aforementioned F59PHI and 4 Amtrak California cars, with 1 cab car and 1 cafe car. Amtrak chose to name their California cars depending on what type each is, with coach cars named after California rivers, coach baggage cars after bays, cab cars after mountains, and cafe cars after valleys, all of which give each California car a distinct California vibe. While we've got a second, why don't you hit that subscribe button? It's totally free and it really helps support the channel. I have a lot of awesome content coming in the next few months, so stick around if you want to see more. Seating on California cars is very comfortable. I can't find any specifics on the seat dimensions, but there's at least 8 inches between my knees and the seat in front, as well as plenty of space to stretch out beneath the seat. Footrests extend down from the seat back, but I find it makes things too cramped for my liking. Above each row of seats are lights, one of which wasn't working, but no air vents. The seat back pocket includes a safety information card, but nothing else. Armrests fold down from between the seats and are well padded for extra comfort. A rather large tray table folds down from the seat back as well, and includes this aluminum bar, the purpose of which I can't quite figure out. There is, however, plenty of space to get work done on a laptop if needed. Amtrak also includes an outlet at each row, however it appears that there's only one outlet on the wall, making it inaccessible to the aisle seat. Above the aisle on either side of the train are rather large storage bins like you would find on an airplane, which is a nice addition. One aspect to note about the seats is that they do not recline, which isn't a huge issue as there's still plenty of space, and they're comfortable as is, but seeing as Amtrak's Surfliner cars have seats that do recline, I would have thought that these would too. Just after leaving Fremont, the Capital Corridor splits off from Ace to head north towards Oakland. In doing so, our train rounds the bend at the Fremont Diamond, revealing the unbelievable sights of our train and the mountains beyond, all coated in that silky sunset glow. The interior of California cars is fairly standard Amtrak, with a 2x2 across the whole car. There are plenty of tables and groups of 4 should larger groups want to sit together, all finished with a seat maquette depicting the ocean waves. Passenger information is provided through these backlit signs on either end of the train above each staircase. Beside the staircases are luggage racks for larger personal belongings. Heading downstairs, passengers can find the bathrooms and bike racks. There are 2 bathrooms downstairs, one of which is an accessible bathroom. The accessible bathroom is very spacious and fairly clean. The sink works well, and the soap is about half full. The paper products are well stocked, But one strange thing to note is that there are 3 toilet flush buttons, 2 of which are these ridiculously large red buttons that look like they launch a missile somewhere, and thus, you have to press them as such. Of course, it's still during COVID at the time of filming, so I made my best attempt to wash my hands, or really, hand, a process that is damn near impossible with only one hand. That being said, we do get to test out the dryer, which I can safely say is working just fine. Overall, it's a pretty nice bathroom. I'm starting to get pretty thirsty, so let's head over to the cafe car to grab a drink. The cafe car on our train is 2 cars down from where we are, so we'll head through car 2, another California coach, to get there. The doors between cars are button activated, as is the case with most doors on Amtrak. Unlike with Pacific Surfliners and Superliners, which have a coach cafe car, California cars have an entire car dedicated to the cafe, and as such, the cafe is actually on the upper level instead of on the lower level. Stepping into the cafe car, the vibe immediately changes. The first thing I noticed was this awesome retro poster of the California cafe car. The cafe car itself is incredible. There are tons of seating options with plenty of windows around to enjoy the view. One thing I noticed was this small room that seemed to be closed off from everything else. I thought it was just a storage area for the crew, but on a second take, I saw that it was actually an elevator. After talking with our lovely bar staff, I found out it's how they get the snack carts from the bottom floor up to the upper level. I had never considered how they would do this, as most cafe cars are on the lower level, but it certainly makes sense for this setup. I decided to grab a can of Coke from the bar and take a seat at one of these quarter booths to enjoy the ride for a bit. But not wanting to leave my personal belongings unattended for too long, I headed back to our car. The Capital Corridor runs parallel to BART's green and orange lines between Fremont and Oakland, which allows us to get a good comparison between each of the 2 services. Our journey will take 35 minutes between Fremont and Oakland, whereas BART trains will take 46 minutes to complete the same journey. Now, 10 minutes may not seem like enough of a time save for the extra price of Amtrak, but the comfort and services provided on Amtrak cannot be rivaled by anything BART has to offer. We're on the final stretch into Oakland, and as such, I pack up our stuff and head downstairs. As our journey clock hits 35 minutes, our train pulls into Oakland's Jack London station. In addition to serving Capital Corridor trains, Jack London Station serves as a major stop on the Coast Starlight and as the southernmost terminus for Amtrak's San Joaquins, one of which, consisting of Comet rail cars headed by an F40PH baggage car, is waiting to depart from Track 1. I'm in no rush to get anywhere, so we'll head out to the front of the train for a better view of its departure. Having served its station stop, our train departs, continuing northbound towards Emeryville and eventually Sacramento. Oakland's Jack London Square station doesn't have many tracks, but it does have a rather beautiful station building. This glass and brick station hall is much nicer than most of Amtrak stations across the US, although it really doesn't see that much use, seeing just under 1,100 passengers per day. And with that, it's time to end today's video. Next week, we'll be back in Orlando, Florida to take a flight with Delta in Comfort Plus on one of their Boeing 767-300 widebodies up to Atlanta. If you want to be around when more videos get posted, please hit that subscribe button down below. It's totally free and it really helps support the channel. If you liked the video, drop it a like too. Likes help push my content to more awesome viewers like you, and the more people who like my content, the more trips we can take in the future. But anyways, that's all I have for today. Thanks for riding with me, and I'll see you in the next one.